Hey everyone, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a review to episode 3 of I'm a Celebrity 2025. So we firstly found out in the previous episode that H would be taking on the trial, but before obviously that all happened, Alex said it would obviously be nice to get into one of the comfortable beds. Jack said that he wants camp to learn a little bit more. He's obviously happy to show people. I think at this point he kind of has a lot of experience of either camping or being outside or I guess living for himself. So he, instead of, taking over and doing everything every day, which would obviously be quite boring, he wants to try and show some of the others how to do camp life or how to light the fire or cook or whatever. Ginge said that he's never going to touch the fire again because I think he tried to move a pot of rice and it ended up making the fire go out a little bit. So he just kind of wasn't really, doing well there. Kelly explained that she's obviously trying to find her place in the camp. Jack said he's obviously going to be taking a step back, and I think they were all kind of voting for who were going to be the next chefs or whatever. And basically Jack said, I'm going to take a step back. And then he said, well, actually, I nominate Alex and Shona to be on Cooking. So obviously some of the girls had a little chat and they were like, well, hang on, he's stepping back. But then he's also going to nominate the next person to go. It's like, surely if you're stepping back, just let people speak between themselves. So I guess it's kind of good that he's on it in terms of organisation stuff. But if someone says to me, I'm taking a step back, I would expect them to literally just take a step back and just, observe. I think Kelly explained that obviously she was on some sort of microbiotic diet. She went to Madonna's house and she could not stop gassing. Gwyneth Paltrow was the host and obviously she felt quite embarrassed after that. Ruby explained that one of her worst experiences was with an interview that she did with Donald Trump. She said it was quite embarrassing, and I think he'd basically said to her that he wanted to be the president of United States, and she laughed, and then he basically kicked her out of that meeting. And she also had an interesting interview with Madonna where she was kind of interviewing her. She's obviously gone off to the toilet, and Ruby decided to go through Madonna's bag, find a pair of knickers, and put that on her head as if comedy. But again, Madonna didn't find that funny. She was like, no, it doesn't quite work. And then, so obviously H was getting prepared for his trial, and he said the worst thing in that room would actually be me. So I think he was talking to Ant and Dec at this point, because they were basically saying, well, he's got to go down to this weird bunker thing. And basically, his trial, can't really remember what it was called, but he basically had to go to a secret underground, and in each of the different rooms were different lots of insects or pigeons or fish guts and things like that, and he had to obviously find the stars in each of the rooms, each star being a meal for camp. So there was a mixture of pigeons, toads, lizards, among other things as well, things that were trying to jump at him, and snakes and fish guts and the rest of it. So he did the challenge. He did very, very well. I think at the beginning he was a bit nervous, but I think it's actually just so funny to see him out of his comfort zone, out of the real world, and just in this weird environment around weird things and other famous people as well. So it's good networking opportunity, and I think it's also a good way for him to showcase that he's actually a genuinely nice person, and he's British as well. So it's nice to see British people that are liked actually go on and do great things. He said in terms of the amount of stars that he won, so he got 7 out of 10. He was expecting to get a lot more. Martin and Kelly were having a chat at camp, and he basically explained that he's 35 years married, and he saw his wife Kelly on top of the pops with Wham, and just realised that was the girl that he wanted to be with. And her wingman at the time was actually George Michael, so obviously her and George Michael were very close, and that kind of brought Martin together, and then obviously pushed all of them into the limelight. So sometimes you just meet people when you least expect them, and you also, if you have connections with people, or if you're someone that knows someone that's got connections, that can easily be a way to find someone that's suitable for you. We found out that the next trial was called Fish Tank Underwater. It wasn't called Fish Tank Underwater, it was a fish tank which was underwater. It was called the Ascarium, and on medical grounds Ruby was ruled out of that one. Would have been quite funny to see her do that, but unfortunately she's probably not able to do that. Alex was talking to Ruby, saying that she met her partner, obviously Jess Glynn, in a private club in London, and that Jess actually approached her. I think at this point it was kind of like a VIP only special invite kind of club, with Ruby explaining that it's very, very exciting. She also said that she did an interview with O.J. Simpson, Donald Trump, Bill Cosby. So, dropping a lot of names of people that she's worked with. But you've got to think she's in this industry. She's been an actress. and a TV personality and a, you know, TV host and things like that. So she's got the experience being in this industry as well. Alex explained to Shona and Ruby that sometimes she feels like she goes into herself, that she doesn't feel as confident, you know, and she just, you know, just isn't as confident as she makes out potentially that she is. Jack explained that he doesn't really have a lot of structure in his life, and obviously when he was younger and doing the whole filming with the Osbournes and the documentaries and things like that, it was obviously a bit intrusive because, you know, as a young boy, you just want to live your life, you don't want to be around cameras 24/7, but that kind of became like a normality for him. So I think him being in the jungle isn't really too much different from that, other than obviously eating animal balls and the rest of it. Ruby explained that the whole Osbournes show was actually one of the first reality shows before everything else that's obviously followed after that. And Martin explained that it was great to see him come through that, having gone through those difficult stages and actually then coming out of the other side as an incredible young man. For dinner, the campmates had camel rump with vegetables, with Jack suggesting that they should do a stew. It was Kelly, Alex and Shona who were all on dinner duty. Ruby said to Jack, put a sock in it, saying that Captain Jack kind of was always there behind the scenes trying to help out whenever, you know, things were going on, and he just needs to not get involved. So I don't think there's any drama, I don't think there's any bad blood. I think it's just more of a, you know, let others take control of things and actually like stop getting involved. But I think that's the thing, he's smart, and he's kind of reminding me a bit of myself, that, you know, sometimes you just want to get involved even if you don't feel like you should or don't feel like you need to. Sometimes it's just doing because you know you can do whatever is in front of you. Kelly explained it was the best meal so far, and Martin explained that even with no pepper and salt, the meal was still beautiful. And then Eddie, Jack, Lisa and Shona were off to do a challenge called the Dark Room Challenge, where basically Jack and Shona were in one room, they had to describe a photo. Eddie and Lisa were in the other room, and they had to find the photos that were being described to them. The only kind of downfall for this challenge, so Jack and Shona had to put their heads in a box. Once their heads were in a box, the light came on for Eddie and Lisa. So obviously if they came out of the box, then Eddie and Lisa would be basically in the dark. In the end, they managed to get all the photos, and they actually then all revealed their photos from home. So this was the first kind of touch of being away from home. So Ruby, her photo family was just actually her cats, and she said, you know, her family are probably going to be quite upset or angry about that, but, you know, she absolutely loves her cats. Eddie said to Shona that obviously she's got quite a large family. H had his two sisters. And Shona explained that it's been a crazy day, but it's definitely been beneficial. So it's nice to kind of see them reflecting on a difficult day, but a nice outing at the end of the day. And then in terms of that water trial, the Escarium, it was either going to be Ginge or Eddie taking on that trial, and we found out it was going to be Eddie. So Eddie's first trial. So, you know, we've already had Ruby and Ginge, we've already had H, so it was Eddie's turn to take control of the challenge. So yeah, I think as of now, little summary. You know, H did his little trial. They've done the little dark challenge. They've got some stars for camp. I think, like I said, there are 10 campmates at the moment. I think we're probably going to see a few more going in, and I'm sure we're going to lose at least one in the next week because, you know, I think it's like a 2 or 3 week show. So yeah, I think H did really, really well. I think at the moment he's probably my favourite, one of, you know, the front runners. Again, I think Jack is very good. I'm not sure how much people will like him because obviously he's trying to get too involved too quickly. Ruby's funny, but again, I don't know if the public are going to like her or not. Kelly seems lovely. You know, Alex seems lovely. Martin Kemp obviously has an amazing audience, you know, big platform of people. But again, is he doing not enough at the moment? I think Ginger's okay, but again, I don't know if people are going to, you know, get on with him. But because he's friends with H, maybe they'll both, you know, keep going through. So yeah, that's kind of my little summary as of now. But yeah, that's the end of episode 3. So if you did enjoy, don't forget to like and share. And till my next review, thank you for watching.